Welcome back to another episode of True Crime with Lux. Today's case is a pretty brutal one. It's a pretty rough one, and it involves a child. So just a little warning at the head of this. I'm going to be talking about the murder of Paige Doherty. Now, Paige was born on April 17th of 2000. She was born in Clydebank, Scotland, and growing up she lived with her mother, Pamela, and her stepfather, Andy. She was very close with her parents and said that her stepfather was the greatest thing that had ever happened to them. They were a very happy family, and she also ended up having 3 younger siblings. She got a little sister and 2 little brothers. Paige was a very tiny girl, and by the time she was 15, she was only 4'8". Now, she had this dream. She was into fashion. She loved doing her makeup, her hair. She just loved all of it, getting all glammed up. And she wanted to become a hairstylist one day. And she actually got a job at a hair salon working Saturday mornings because she was 15, still in school. So she was able to find something that she could use in the future. And she mainly just cleaned, kept the place clean, swept up the floors, all that kind of stuff. But just being in the environment, really, it was her dream. She loved it. And people said that she was a very respectful young girl, and she was very caring, and she was just a joy to be around. Everybody loved her at the salon, her friends, her family. Everybody just said she was great. I mean, she was an average kid, but she was really fun, and you didn't mind hanging out with her. She also had a boyfriend named Dylan, and the two of them just had this sweet, loving relationship. Everything in her life was just great and nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. When it came to technology, she was like most teens. She loved her phone, always had it on her, always posting on all kinds of social media pages. She was very active on her social medias, which is why later people realized something was wrong, because one day she just stopped posting. She hadn't been online, she hadn't posted anything, hadn't commented on anything, and it was very unlike her, so people knew something wasn't right. On Friday, March 18th of 2016, Paige went to her friend Lauren's house to have a little sleepover, and she had work the next morning at the salon, so they didn't stay up too late or anything like that. They went to bed at a reasonable time so that she could get up and get ready and head into work. And she did. That morning, she got up, she got ready. Lauren said everything was normal, nothing crazy, nothing weird. She wasn't acting strange or anything. It was a normal morning. And on her way to the salon, she usually stopped to get food, a coffee. She would stop somewhere on the way. Now, on that afternoon, her boyfriend Dylan realized that he hadn't heard anything from her. He didn't get a good morning text. He had texted her a few times and hadn't really got any responses. And it was weird for Paige not to respond to his messages. Like, they weren't in a fight or anything. And he was like, well, that's weird. I'll give her some time. I'll see. Maybe she's just really busy. Maybe when she gets on her break at work, she'll message me. So he waited. That afternoon, he was like, something's not right. Like, she should have said something by now, anything, even if it's just to say, hey, I'm really busy today. Sorry, haven't had a chance to respond. Like, a few seconds to text him. And so, being concerned, just wanting to make sure she got to work okay, because she does walk and then take a bus to get to work. He just wanted to check on her. And he decided, I'll call the salon. I won't bother her, but I'll ask that she made it there okay. Just a quick call. And he called and asked, like, hey, did Paige make it to work okay? Is everything all right? And the salon owner told him, Paige isn't here today. She never showed up for her shift. She never called out. She's not here. So they didn't know where she was. This really concerned him because Paige loved her job. She would never not show up and not call. Like, she would always be at work. And if some reason she couldn't be, she definitely would have called out. So he called her mom, Pam, to check to see if maybe she was home. Maybe she was sick. Maybe something. So he called her to see, hey, is Paige okay? Or is she home with you? And Pam was like, no, she should be at work right now. which Dylan informed her. I called her job, and they said she never showed up, and they didn't hear anything from her. Like, nobody knows where she is. Dylan told her mom, look, the last thing I can think of, since she's not at work, she's not at home, I'll try her social medias. I'll see if she was posting, I'll see what's going on. And he checked and realized that she hadn't been online all day. She hadn't posted. Her notification didn't even say that she'd been on. The last time she was online was the night before. Pam and him both agreed, like, this is strange. This isn't like her. So they immediately called the police. Like, something has to be wrong. And Pam felt it in her gut, like, something bad has happened. Police went out to the house and they spoke with Pam and the rest of the family, kind of getting an idea of, like, who Paige was. And her friends even started posting online, like, have you seen Paige? When's the last time you talked to her? Has anybody spoken to her today? And nobody had heard from her that day since she left her friend's house that morning. And by that night, still nobody came forward to say that they'd spoken to her or they saw her. So police ended up setting up a search party. They got a bunch of volunteers to search the wooded areas, to look around the shops on her route to work, to see if they can find any sign of her. And this search didn't result with much. There was no evidence that something happened on her route. Nobody knew what happened to poor Paige. On Sunday, police started to wonder, okay, well, maybe since there's no signs, there's a possibility maybe she just ran away, but her family, her friends all said she had no reason to run away, first of all. Second of all, she had no money on her to go anywhere, and she would still use her phone. She would still be active on her cell phone, even if she decided to run away with no money and not tell anybody. So this wasn't a plausible explanation to anybody. Nobody believed that she would just leave and not say anything or grab anything. Like, all she had was a pair of clothes that she had brought to change into for work after her sleepover. That was it. She didn't have anything else on her. So police pretty quickly realized that she wasn't a runaway. So her friends started a Facebook group, kind of to just get her out there, get more people to see it, more people to hopefully keep an eye out for her. And they started posting different photos from different angles, just like hoping somebody would recognize her. Her mom knew the clothes that she had planned to wear to work that day, so she posted the picture of the clothing, like, this is the outfit that she'd be wearing. If you see a girl around looking like this in these clothes, please contact the police. They then put up missing posters around town, just really hoping for the community to help look for Paige. And police then did a more thorough search of the route and to see, like, okay, well, she normally stops to get food on her way in, so let's check all the shops, see if anybody remembered her coming in that morning, trying to figure out when exactly she went missing. But there wasn't any help at first. Like, they couldn't figure out what happened. They couldn't figure out where she had gone for breakfast, if she had even stopped. They just knew that she just vanished into thin air, and there's no evidence of what happened. She had left that morning like usual. She told Lauren, I'm going to go get food. So they knew that at some point she had planned to get food. So did she disappear before she got food? After she got food? Somebody had to have seen her after she left Lauren's house that morning. They went to each shop. They spoke to every single owner, and just to see if anybody remembered seeing her on the morning of the 19th. And the places they were looking, everybody was like, no, she didn't come in today. She didn't come in that day. Couldn't remember seeing her on that morning. There was a small grouping of shops right near the bus stop that she would have taken, which in my opinion should have been the first place that they kind of looked. Like, you start from her route, from where she left, and you knew she took the bus. Those would be the first shops you would think that you would search or ask questions at. But eventually they did get to it. And one of the shop owners, Ashi Ahmed, said he had seen her that morning, actually. He saw her go into the deli that was about 2 doors up. He said that he waved at her because she would sometimes come in his deli, so they knew each other. And so when he saw her, he waved to say hi, and she waved back to say hi as she walked into this other deli to get her breakfast. He said that it had to be between 8:15 and 8:30 that morning that he saw her because he put the rolls in the same time every day. So it had to be around this time because that's when he stepped out, was once he put the rolls in. So his timing was pretty on point of when he would have seen her. He said that, she liked to try out the different shops depending on what she was feeling that day, and sometimes she would come to his shop and they would chat for a little bit while he made her breakfast, but he was just putting the rolls in, so she went to the other deli to get her breakfast. He said the owner of the shop was John Latham, and he had talked to John that night about seeing Paige that day, and he was like, yeah, she came in, she got a roll and a sausage, and then she left for work. Like, yeah, I saw her. It was the usual. Like, she came in, she got her breakfast, and then she left. Nothing out of the ordinary, he said. Police then asked if anybody had any surveillance videos of the outside of the shopping center, because everybody had, like, security cameras inside their buildings, but not a lot of them had outside surveillance. And she was like, yeah, I have one camera that points outside onto the sidewalk. I'll get you the footage. We keep a rotating of 12 days, so I'll have the footage for you. And they were like, okay, we just need that morning's footage just to see kind of which direction she would have gone after she left the deli, to see maybe if they were looking in the wrong area. Maybe she didn't walk towards the bus stop. Maybe she walked somewhere else. He got them that footage on March 21st. They were finally able to get their hands on the footage to get back to the tech team to get it to where they could watch it. However, that morning when they got that footage, they also got a call that a person who had been out walking their dogs found a body. There were 2 human legs sticking out of a bush along his route that he was walking. So police, they showed up and they investigated, and they realized that it was a body of a young female. They, at the time, believed it was a 20-year-old female, so they weren't too sure who it could be yet. Now, this spot was only a half a mile away from her bus stop, away from those shops that she had been at that morning. So it was a possibility that it was Paige. And now that they had the footage, and they were hoping to get more information once everything was able to be watched. The body was taken for an autopsy, and because it was so close to where Paige was last seen, her family was notified of, we found a body of a female. We believe it to be in their 20s, which her mom, Pam, was like, okay, well, I mean, Paige is 15. She's only 4'8". You can't mistake her for a 20-year-old woman. Like, from what they said to her, she was like, okay, this can't be Paige. But her gut told her another thing. She was like, I have this horrible feeling that this is my daughter. Now, other police officers, when she got that call that they had found a body, other police officers had been at her house already taking statements, trying to figure out where Paige could be. And the officers told her, hey, Paige isn't the only one missing in the area. It's possible it's not her. I mean, one of the girls missing is blonde, but the other one has brown hair. So, I mean, it could be this other girl that's missing. You never know. However, that night, the other girl with brown hair that was missing, she turned up and she was okay. So Pam knew before she was told anything, before she could even look at the body, she had a feeling that she knew that this was Paige. On Tuesday morning, Pam and a couple of family members joined her to go and identify the body. Before the family arrived, they did what they could as far as like making her presentable, but this girl had been brutally murdered. And there was only so much they could do to cover up the horrors that she went through before she died. She had died from blood loss from being stabbed. And there were over 100 stab wounds and close to 300 wounds in total. It was a very frantic, very brutal killing. It's very rough. And for Pam to have to go in there and see that to confirm that it was Paige. She knew it in her gut, but the moment she saw her, she was like, I knew this was Paige. And she even said that police reported over 100 stab wounds, but it was so much more than that. And there was a wound on the side of her neck she could tell that her daughter went through a whole lot before she passed. The killer, they believe, used multiple items to stab. He used a knife, he used scissors, possibly even a screwdriver, just anything that he could reach was used on Paige. The day after her body was found, some stupid teenage boy was posting all over social media, telling all of his friends, like, look at this bloody knife I have. I'm the one who killed Paige. It was me. I did this. Just bragging about it, trying to get attention. And police quickly ruled him out. He had nothing to do with this. He just, being a gross teenager, trying to get attention, thinking it was cool to say that he'd killed somebody. And it was a waste of everybody's time. And it was just gross. That's the only word coming to mind at the moment. Was disgusting. And the fact that there are people out there that do this, that claim to have done horrific things just to get attention, the notoriety, like, it's stupid. So police decided they were going to go back to the shops, and because it was the last place that she was seen, and so there had to be more evidence. There had to be more that they could figure out there. And they went back to talk to John, the deli owner, the one that she went into, since he was most likely the last person to speak to her before she died. Now, when the officers got there to question him, these were different officers than had spoken to him the first time around. So his dumbass thought that police don't talk to each other. They don't communicate. So these officers come in. He's never seen them before. They've never talked to him before. And he goes, I don't know who Paige is. I don't know who that is. She's never been in my deli that I can recall, but I have a busy deli. So maybe she did, but I don't remember her. I've never seen her. I've never spoken to her that I can recall. Sir, literally 2 days before, you gave us a whole rundown of how you made her a roll and sausage. She came in for breakfast, you had a little conversation while you made her breakfast. But now all of a sudden you don't know what we're talking about. You're just gonna play dumb? Like, we know that you know. You've spoken to us before. So they ended up bringing him down to the station to talk to him more one-on-one to see if he could suddenly remember what happened that day. And it took hours before he finally said, oh, yeah, that girl. Yeah, she came in, she ordered a roll and sausage, we had a little bit of small talk, and then she left the deli. That was it. It was a normal day. It was nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing stuck out as weird to him. That was weird that you wanted to pretend that you didn't know what we were talking about for hours, but okay. And then after he had finally admitted again that she had come into his shop for breakfast, they let him go. Now, John Latham is a 31-year-old who owns this deli. He has a wife and 2 small children, just to kind of give you a little idea of who this man is at the moment. Police finally were able to watch the footage that they got, and they watched it from the morning that Paige went missing. They saw Paige enter the deli at exactly 8:21, which meant that she knew exactly what time it was. He was pretty spot on about what time he saw her that morning. And they watched this video, and they continued to watch this video. And at no point did Paige ever walk out of that deli. She walked in at 8:21 and is never seen leaving. They decided to go back and get the rest of the footage from Ashi. They were like, okay, we need to see more of what happened because the footage that we got from you, she didn't leave. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'll give you all 12 days. Maybe there's more in there. Maybe there's some kind of clue in there as to what happened. And so they got all 12 days of footage back. And then they also decided that they would go down to John's deli and be like, okay, look, we also need your video footage because we know she came in here at 8:21, but we don't have any footage of her leaving. So we need your footage to see, like, did she go out a back door? What happened? Where'd she go? And he was like, yeah, no problem. Like, yeah, you can have the footage from inside my deli. And he handed it over. And they got it back to the lab and quickly realized that there was a big chunk of time missing. It doesn't even show her walking in. Like, he had cut all of that out of the footage before giving it to police. Bit suspicious if you ask me. They ended up searching the deli because obviously that was the last place she was. That's where she went missing. And that could also be where she died. So they searched it, top to bottom, and they also went through all of the footage that she had given them to see what else they could find on there. Like, if she didn't leave, maybe there was somebody else. Maybe there was something else. Now, rewatching this footage, the complete footage that they had gotten, they saw, again, Paige go into the deli at 8:21. And 2 hours later, John runs out, looking paranoid. And he ends up going to another shop and buying items. So the police went to the shop and they asked, hey, do you remember what he bought that day? And they were like, oh yeah, he got some trash bags, some bleach, and antibacterial wipes. In the middle of the day, on a work day, he just left his deli to get these supplies. Okay. They then decided to start asking witnesses more detailed questions now that they got a better idea of what possibly happened. And everybody was like, yeah, the deli opened that morning on time, but then that morning it also closed, like randomly it just closed. It was open, and then all the blinds were shut, and it was locked, and it was just closed all of a sudden, and that wasn't normal. He didn't just close in the middle of the morning after he had opened up for the day. So on this video, you can see at exactly 10:03, John comes out and he walks over to his car and he gets in his trunk, and you can see him kind of shuffling around like he's moving things. And then he goes back in to the shop. He then takes a large trash bag out of the deli and places it in his trunk. And at 11:59, he gets in his car and he leaves. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities, because Paige was so small, that trash bag that he carried out was her. He was arrested on March 24th for the murder of Paige Doherty. He had previously spoken to news outlets when they were first looking for Paige, saying things like, oh my God, I can't believe something like this happened in our small community. It's so safe around here. He had even reached out to her mother saying, like, I've realized, like, I'm the last person who talked to her that morning before she disappeared. Like, if you want to come over to my house and talk, and I can tell you what her morning was like, how she was. Like, what? And her mom even said, like, I wonder what would have happened if I had taken him up on that. Like, if I had gone to his house and actually spoken to him, would he have killed me too? Did he think I knew that he did something? Or it's just, he inserted himself into this investigation, and it's just creepy to think of the what ifs. Like, what if she did end up saying, like, yeah, I want to talk about her last moments. During his interrogation, he stuck with his story that she came in, she got food, she left. They told him, we have footage. She didn't leave. At no point in any of that footage did she leave your deli. And he just said, I don't know what happened to her. She said she left the deli. She walked out of the deli. I don't know what happened. When he went to court, he didn't have a plea. He didn't say anything. When asked about the charges against him, he was silent. He didn't have any response, not a not guilty, not a guilty, just silence. On September 5th of 2016, he went to court and finally pleaded guilty to killing Paige, just out of nowhere. Nobody knows why he finally decided to admit to it. In his story, he said that she came in and bought a roll and sausage. They then talked for a little while, and he said she told him that she was looking for a new job. And no. Paige had her dream job at a salon. Her career goals when she grew up was to work in a salon. She wasn't going to leave her salon job to work in a deli. She didn't want to own a deli when she grew up. She wanted to be a hairstylist. So she wasn't going to leave her job to go work in some deli. It's not feasible at all. He said that she then asked if he was hiring, and he was like, oh yeah, you can fill out an application in the back for a job. And so that's what she did. He said that she went back there and she started filling out the application. He said while she was filling it out, he was asking her some questions, and she mentioned, hey, I'm only 15. And he was like, oh, I'm going to need your parents' permission for you to work here because you're underage. And apparently, he said, this just freaked her out. She freaked out because she needed her parents' permission to get a job at the deli. And she started threatening him, saying, if you don't give me this job, I'm going to go to the police and I'm going to tell them that you touched me inappropriately. None of this is actually possible because this wasn't who Paige was. She wasn't going to leave her good job at a salon where she wanted to be to work in a deli. She wasn't going to threaten some man that he touched her because she couldn't get a job at this deli. Like, this story he was making up, nobody could even pretend to believe. Like, it was so out there and so wrong. Then he informed police, look, when she said that, I freaked out because I have a twin brother who is a rapist, and I know that his life has been so hard since that happened, and I didn't want to live like that. I didn't want to have those same struggles as my brother has. So because he panicked and he didn't want her to go to the police and make up these lies about him and ruin his life, he decided he would stab her. He grabbed a knife and he stabbed her. And this is his story. And he has insisted it's the truth. He has not changed it. He has not said, actually, this is what really happened, because everybody can tell that this is not what happened. These are not the truth. Police believe that he ended up hiding her body at his house for a few days once people started looking for her. And when he got an opportunity, when there weren't people around, he then took her body and hid it in that bush. Pam believes that he tried to make some kind of advance on Paige, and when she rejected him, he got angry and killed her, which is a more realistic idea of what could have happened. It is way more possible than the bullshit he came up with. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 27 years. A few months later, he appealed this, saying that it was excessive. It was too excessive for him to have to serve 27 years for murdering a little girl. And unbelievably, the court agreed. And they were like, okay, you'll still have life in prison, but you have to serve a minimum of 23 years now. So he could still get out in enough time to have a normal life, to live his life. And I don't think there should have been a minimum. I think there should have just been a life in prison. That was it. Should have been the end of his sentence. On a happier note, in May of 2017, Pam had a little baby girl, and she named her Penny Margaret Paige. So Paige got another little sister. She also found Paige's bucket list and has been working towards crossing things off of it in memory of Paige. I want to thank you for listening to Paige's case, and to remember to always stay safe out there. And it's really weird to sign these off with "have a great day" and all that, because this is a brutal case. But I do hope that you have a great day and that you stay safe out there. And I will be talking to you later.